How good is it going to be as the cars come out on the circuit? Well, if you saw the 3-hour enduro last year at the Australian 1000 Classic at Mount Panorama, this is going to be nothing short of exciting. Alfie Costanzo and Dean Canto, they start from pole alongside John Bowe and Neil Crompton in the Ferrari.
Out of position 3, Ed Aitken and Peter Fitzgerald in the Porsche, Paula Elstrick and Perry Spadides out of 4.
Ross Halliday, Dave Wallace, Jamie Cartwright and Christian de Gostin.
Out of 7, Dominic Beninka and Gary Walden, another Porsche. Max Warwick and his son Luke in another Porsche.
Go back to position 9, Mark King, Rod Wilson, Craig Dean and Rob Porter out of 10.
Out of 11, Richard Davis and Gary Baxter in the big Commodore. Sam Newman and Tony Longhurst link up in the new Falcon XR6.
That'll be an interesting combination. Robert Chadwick and Jimmy Myhill, Graham Hunt and Andrew Mediki makes his GTP debut.
Mark Cohen and Martin Miller and another Commodore. David Ratcliffe and Jeff Full, they team up in the Toyota Camry.
Back to Peter Phelan and Trevor Talbot, John Trimble and Damien White.
Great mix of classes here too. Calvin Gardner and Tom Watkinson in the Mazda. Matt Lehman and Megan Curtin in another Mazda.
There's a multitude of classes and we'll explain about that later. Grant Kenny, the Ironman champ, joins up with Scott Jacob, Alan Letcher and Cameron Edwards.
Aaron McGill and Don Pulver in the Suzuki Swift. Kozi Kazalidis in
We go all the way back. We are set to go. This is the OAMS Insurance Endurance Classic. 1 hour. That is the asking, and once that is up, we are finished. It is a sprint, but there is a compulsory pit stop and driver change. And we'll talk more about that later as we get set for a start. Away we go, and getting away to a tremendous start. In the Ferrari was John Bowe, Neil Crompton. That is the combination. Fantastic effort there. Down the main straight they come. We'll explain all about it. Look at the Maserati of Alfie Costanzo sitting in second spot. He's got the inside run on the Ferrari, and the Maserati takes the lead in the first corner.
Good aggressive move by Alfie, and John Bowe gets a little bit high and dry on the curb on the outside. They've got an hour racing ahead of them, so you don't want to get too pushy. We welcome Craig Denyer to the commentary, and Craig, great start from the Ferrari, but even better from the Maserati.
And an even better one still, Mark, from Dominic Beninka, of course, the current Australian GT production car champion, who started 7th on the grid, now up to 3rd outright.
Well, we have 5 different categories, Class A right through to E, A, B, C, D, and E. Well, as time goes on, we'll talk more about that. There is the Chadwick Myhill entry, and a very dramatic race at Mount Panorama last year, but we get back up the front. And it is Alfie Costanzo who's been quick all the time, but he's being hotly pursued by Bowe as he looks for an inside run. Bowe in the Ferrari's got him. So we've still got a long way to go, and Dominic Beninka has got up there. Ed Aitken and the Fitzgerald entry sneaking up the outside as well, so the Maserati is just being swamped.
Interesting to watch the power of the Maserati here, though, guys, because it's got a twin-turbo V6 2-litre engine, got an enormous amount of horsepower, particularly around Sandown, so let's watch him, particularly up the back straight.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with the Italian car throughout qualifying. Craig, very, very fast in wet conditions. And Alfie's doing a tremendous job here as he closes up behind the Porsche. And now we'll see the power of those twin turbos kicking on this 2-litre V6. Look at that.
Oh, well, as we said it, you know, that's where the strength of the Maserati is. The Porsche very good under brakes. The Ferrari goes through. Of course, Alfie Costanzo, 55 years of age. He's co-driving with Dean Canto, who's only 17 years of age. So you're going to have the oldest and the youngest in the field in this one car.
And this just does go to prove the value of a strong power-to-weight ratio. That is how much the car weighs relative to the amount of power the engine has. The Maserati, even though it's got a smaller engine than the Porsche, its actual race package is very, very competitive. Look at him leading away here. We're here for race control. There may be a stop-go penalty for John Bowe for jumping the start. We'll keep you up to date on that, but that'll be a huge disappointment for the Ferrari team.
Power of that Maserati up the back straight, just streaking away from Dominic Beninka. It is Bowe out in front, but as we've just heard, the stop-go penalty for him. So we'll wait and see as he comes around. If he does, in fact, pull into the pits this time round. We go back. Ed Aitken has started in the Porsche in the Aitken-Fitzgerald entry. Then Paula Elstrick doing very well in the second Ferrari. She's up to 5th at the moment.
This will be interesting to watch John Bowe on the Shell Helix onboard camera as he peels off into pit lane for a stop-go. He's going to do it too. So Ferrari go virtually to the back of the field. As he pulls up here, a compulsory speed limit in pit lane of 60 kilometres an hour. He'll go up to this little box painted on the ground where he has to stop the car. He comes under our pit lane camera right up to the end of pit lane. See that little red box there? He's given the sign. Out he goes again. So he'll have dropped quite a number of positions.
Well, an interesting charge back through the field now for John Bowe, of course. I wonder what he's saying to Neil Lowe, his team manager, over the 2-way at the moment. One can only imagine. Yes, I reckon he's giving him a fair old serve, but never mind. This man is sensational to watch in this car with the backing of Ferrari fragrance this year. Certainly the sweetest smelling GTP driver in the field anyhow.
Here he comes. He's already on a charge, picking his way through some of the smaller capacity classes. Well, as they come up toward Repco corner, the run of the back straight, there's the new Toyota Sora. Bit of oil surge, I think, plenty of smoke pumping from the exhaust there, as John Bowe really starts his charge to get back toward the front of the pack.
Well, he should be almost inside the top 10 now, because he's just taken over 2. He was 12th before, so already making his way forward well. The highest class B car at the moment, it looks like the Trimble white entry. So John Trimble going very well at the moment. That is the Bottle Magic entry just gone through on screen, so doing well. Just was overtaken by John Bowe, but out in front it is Alfie Costanzo, who inherited the lead courtesy of that stop-go penalty from John Bowe in the Ferrari. Pinker still sitting in second and Ed Aitken third.
Fastest man on the track too, Alfie Costanzo, 1 minute 19.76 seconds for the Maserati. No other car is in the 1:19 bracket at the moment. That was his first flying lap.
I'll tell you what, it was quicker than his qualifying time yesterday, of course. Greasy track, a 1:20.29, but Alfie got down to the 18s, a high 18 in practice here on Friday. So all weekend he's shown plenty of speed in this superbly turned out Maserati Ghibli Cup car. Jamie Cartwright going through in the Toyota Supra RZ twin turbo that he's sharing this weekend with Christian D'Agosta, who's driving the car at the moment. Bowe coming through. Then this great Class B battle being led by Trimble in the Daily Planet Evo 3. Just behind him, I think it's Mark King in the second of the Evo 3s in that category. Robbie Porter, the executive chairman of OAMS, leading this battle in the sports and luxury cars Toyota Sora. Plenty of weight in the rear of the car too, throwing it around.
You heard him saying yesterday, yeah, it's cruisy. We got the air conditioning, the CD on in there.
They're worried about the smoke it's pumping out, particularly on the corners. Not sure she's having a bit of oil surge there, Craig.
It is actually an oil surge problem. Was also evident in the car yesterday, but no real problems. It's been there all weekend. They're quite happy with the car.
Fascinating car that. It's sold, I think, in America as a Lexus.
Indeed they are. In fact, they're not sold in Australia, but a lot of people do bring them in on a what they call a low-volume import situation. They're certainly sold as a Lexus SC400 in America. You can get the V8 Lexus engine, the turbocharged 6-cylinder, either a twin-turbo or a single-turbo 6-cylinder, which this car has here. It's a 2.5-litre, 5-speed gearbox, but it really is a luxury car, quite a heavy car too, at over 1,600 kilos.
Good work by John Trimble in the Daily Planet entry. He's doing a really good job. He's teamed up with a young New South Wales driver in Damien White, who's done some time in GTP before in Class E, and of course he's done some time in Formula Ford as well. So Trimble making a nice inside move on the Sora. Can't quite get it down the straight though, or has he? Starting to level peg now a little bit.
Well, the old Sora, she's not lacking for punch in a straight line. The inline 6-cylinder engine, enhanced by a turbocharger, makes a big difference in a straight line. And Trimble has to give way to the big Toyota on the straight. Really monster him on the turns.
Mark King driving the black Evo 3. He's from a company on the Gold Coast called King Springs. Does a lot of all the springs, mainly for all the V8 supercar teams. Most racing teams in Australia now. Got a very successful business. And his car, absolutely stock standard. Bought it at auction in Japan a few weeks ago. But they've worked on the tyres and the suspension. And you can see how well the car handles. He's really got it set up well.
That's the beauty of GT production, isn't it, Craig? The fact that you can buy these cars virtually off the showroom floor and go racing.
Robert Chadwick and Jimmy Byhill has actually taken the start in this car, the Mitsubishi Magna. They qualified well, second fastest. In fact, they're running second in their class now to Mark Cohen, who's leading the Commodore. Tony Longhurst and Sam Newman running third in the UAU Falcon XR8, or XR6 I should say. But this Magna's done a tremendous job. Only, I think, was maybe 8/100ths of a second off pole position in that class, considering Tony Longhurst at the time.
Yeah, it's been a very impressive package since it came on the market to the Australian public. Very aggressive styling. Surprised a lot of people that think of Mitsubishi, apart from their World Rally cars, as being quite a conservative company, but the styling of their, I guess you could say, their bread and butter car, the Magna, has been quite aggressive, and it's certainly a great looking car. 3-litre V6 engine, front wheel drive. Meanwhile, another battle going here. Watching John Bowe's progress, he's 19 seconds behind the leader the last time we looked. He's back in 6th position, so he is absolutely flying through the field.
Lap time of 1:19.55 for Bowe, so he's still half a second off Alfie's fastest lap.
So Bowe and Perry Spiridi's Ferrari with Paula Elstrick at the wheel, and Elstrick's doing a great job too. Yeah. She's up to 4th position.
And look at John Bowe. He is just ripping through the field at the moment after that stop-go penalty. If you've just joined us, Bow was our early race leader. This is the 1 hour OAMS Insurance Endurance Classic for the GT production cars. Bow had to go into the pits for a stop-go penalty. Paula Elstrick trying an inside move on the Warwick Porsche. Couldn't quite get through. Now Bow has come from 12th, and he has just come right up to 6th position at the moment, so he is on a blitz.
Pretty busy man today, isn't he?
In fact, it's 4th now that he's crossed the line. He's gone past those 2 cars, so
the order at the moment, Alfie Costanzo in the Maserati still continues to lead this race. 5.2 seconds the lead over Dominic Vaninka in the Porsche. Ed Aitken in 3rd and another Porsche. John Bow now moves up to 4th position. Here's the Warwick Porsche in 5th. And Paula Elstrick, she slips back to 6th.
Well, the GTP cars are cranking it up. It is the Costanzo-Canto entry who leads the way. Dominic Vaninka hot in pursuit. Bow also. We have a look 6 back through 10. Paula Elstrick is doing well. We go back to the Cartwright Daggerston entry. Trimble is having a great battle for Class B. King, Cohen, Chadwick, Newman and Lawrence rounding out 15. More after this.
Welcome back as we bring you GT production car action from Sandown, the OAMS Insurance Endurance Classic, and you're watching the first of the new AU Falcons to race officially in Australia. And this is the Tony Longhurst-Sam Newman combination. Tony Longhurst behind the wheel, but that's not the only celebrity race team, you might say, that is contesting this event. Of course, Scotty Jacobs out there, his co-driver is Grant Kenny, and there's a shot of Sam back in the pits, I'm sure feeling very nervous about his time at the wheel. We'll have a chat with Grant Kenny pretty soon, but this is going to be one heck of a race with John Bow on the charge and about to attack the top 3.
Well, speaking of this car, the Longhurst-Newman combination, Tony has just worked his way up into 2nd as he gets passed by the Crompton Bow Ferrari with John Bow behind the wheel. So Longhurst has come back. He was something like 4th before in Class C. He has worked the new AU Falcon, the XR6, right up into 2nd position. He only has Jim Myhill to overtake, which he already has. Sorry, Mark Cohen he has to overtake now, who is our present Class C leader, and he's doing a good job. Now, somebody who is about to take over the wheel from Scott Jacob aboard the Subaru Impreza is Grant Kenny. Grant, welcome along, and how are the nerves?
Thank you. Actually, it's funny because got a bit more nervous watching Scotty do the start than I've had out there myself before.
Well, he's doing well. He's in 21st position outright, and he's running about 4th in Class B at the moment, so you happy with that?
Yeah, well, look, we're happy just to be circulating at the moment because the car is brand new. The guys only finished it last week, so we've had one go on Lakeside before we came down here, and then it's really been a game of catch-up. You know, qualifying, we've been through the process here this weekend. We've been down on power, but we've got a lot of that back today. Just noticed that this morning. It was a little bit hard to manage on the slippery conditions, but you know, the car is coming along fine now. We're just thankful that it's dry because you know, we're happy with the way it's set up and everything. So the guys have done a great job.
Now, Sam Newman's had quite a, I mean, besides being a high-profile character, he's had a high-profile build-up to his racing exploits. You've been a little bit more undercover.
Yeah, I just try and go out there and do the job when I'm in the car and, you know, worry about the rest of the stuff later on. But, you know, Scotty's had, you know, it's been good. The car, as I said, has been running really well. He has had some problems in the race so far with the gearbox, so that's why he got a great start and passed about 4 or 5 cars in the first couple of laps, but then there was a couple of little problems there with the gearbox where he missed some gears and couldn't get gears up. So just talking to the guys in the pits there before, you know, he's crawled his way back, so we're pretty happy with that.
Well, he's done very well. We were saying just a couple of moments ago, 21st outright. He's now 18th outright and 4th in your class. How much time have you done in the Subaru?
Well, I've been here this weekend where I've had a total of about 35 minutes and about a half an hour at Lakeside. So my total driving experience in this car is a little over an hour now.
Now, we've just had word through that the safety car is out on the circuit, and this is perhaps why.
In fact, it's a touch between, it's Phil Kirkham in the rebound car, and Myhill and Chadwick's Magna have come together. In fact, I think you'll find it's Matt Lehman who's driving the Kirkham car. He was the driver nominated to start, so obviously some kind of incident there, which has just put out the safety car.
That's actually good for us. I'm pretty happy to see that at the moment. Gives him a chance to make up some of that lost ground.
Well, here is Scott Jacob, your teammate at the back of this pack. I don't think these guys are aware that the safety car is out as yet. So a very eventful start to the OAM's Insurance Endurance Classic with the safety car comes out. Here's your teammate, Grant, coming, splitting him up the middle.
He's doing a great job. Yeah, he's not too worried about them all, as long as he gets around the corner at the end. But as I said, it has been handling well, and pretty happy to see him moving up there.
Grant, I believe it was your run to the celebrity races at the Grand Prix that first whet your appetite for motor racing.
Yeah, actually, you had the opportunity to drive the very first celebrity race at the Adelaide Grand Prix in '85. And I've done a few since then. In fact, that's when I met Scott. He was an instructor at the BMW Driver Training Centre on the Gold Coast, and that's where I ran into Scott, and he just called me out of the blue and said, "Do you want to come racing?"
There's our Falcon safety car out on the circuit, lights ablaze. He's picked up our race leader, Alfredo Costanzo, in the Maserati, I should say. So a queue of cars will form up behind him while they remove whatever the damage is, and that is really going to help John Bowe make up even more time.
Now keep in mind, these laps behind the safety car do count to the total. And this, of course, is a 1 hour race.
Which would mean, guys, it's probably too early for a pit stop, because all these guys, of course, no one can do more than a 40-minute stint or 2/3 of the race, so it's a little bit too early for a pit stop at this stage. So they'll all have to follow the safety car around as we follow Robbie Porter in the Toyota Sora.
It's quite funny.
Fire breather.
This is a slow down lap. The Sora's sliding all over the road. Bowie's just sort of driving along there, chugging along, hardly moving.
Now, we can't keep you up here too long, but it's great to have you up here. When are you expected to jump in? What's the strategy with you and Scott?
Well, we're going to run to about 35 minutes, depending on how congested the pit area is. Obviously, it is a little busy down there, and so we really don't want to get caught up. If we lose, a minute or so through pit congestion, even by driving a couple of seconds faster a lap, that's going to take 50-odd laps, which we don't have. So I've actually just noticed too that Scott's best time there now of a 1:35.3 is the fastest we've gone by nearly a second and a half this weekend. So really the car is coming good for us, so that's good news.
On the improve. So time for the drivers just to regroup. Here is the newly crowned GT production car champ, Dominic Beninka, in the Porsche. He's had a terrific year, a real dogfight with Peter Fitzgerald. It's been an exciting year, Craig, for the GT production category.
And what a great year for Dominic too. I mean, he came into the series last year underfunded, and he did very, very well. Went on to win this year's championship, running second outright today on the road.
Well, it's been an exciting start to this one, Greg Rust.
Certainly has been, and Neil Crompton, this safety car incident is going to play right into your hands, given the stop-go penalty.
Yeah, it's good news for us. Unfortunately, John copped the stop-go early in the piece, and I think we're about 20 seconds off the lead prior to the safety car coming out. So this bunches them all back up again, and hopefully the grey stuff stays away and we can be competitive through to the end.
Now you're getting ready now with the helmet. You're going to go out now?
I just want to be on standby because I've been caught here a few times before doing my Keystone Cops impression when a car arrives and looks at me, so I don't want to do that today if I can avoid it, but probably go around about half distance, I'd say, theoretically.
Well, Neil Crompton has got a big day along with his teammate John Bowe, both in different teams, of course, in the V8 supercar category. John Bowe teaming up with Cameron McConville, a former GT production car champ back in 1996, and in fact that car is running here today with the combination of Max and Luke Warwick, father and son combination.
There's John Bowe just sitting back in the queue, and he'll be waiting for those lights to go out on the safety car to get back to racing conditions. He will floor the throttle in that Ferrari and try and make up as much as he can on that Maserati, but it's absolutely flying, isn't it, Alfie's car?
Well, and great lap times too, but and of course at 55 years of age, Alfie's still very, very competitive. He loves his motorsport. A lot of damage to the front of the Matt Lehman Mazda, unfortunately. This car has been only built in the past 10 days. They rode a car off at the final round of the championship at Oran Park, where they still had a chance of winning Class D. They bought a body shell from a wrecker only 10 days ago. They've worked non-stop to get this car in this race, and Matt was behind the wheel, so I don't know whether he lost brakes or dived down the inside, but hit the back of Myhill's Magna, spun it around, and obviously quite a bit of damage.
Now, there's still a couple of minutes left before they can stop for these pit stops. Things are getting busy down in pit lane.
Well, Phil Kirkham, tell us exactly what's gone wrong here. This is your car. You're not competing in it this weekend, but it's got some damage.
Yes, it appears that it is a new car, and it appears we seem to have had a brake problem. So we're working on it at the moment. Hopefully we can get a good enough pedal to get it back out. If not, we'll just have to stop it because can't go up with any brakes, unfortunately.
Have you taken care of your driver change while they're in?
Yes, we have. If it goes out again, my wife will be driving.
Well, there you go. The boys hard at work. Nothing a bit of hammering won't fix.
Also my local panel meeting shop.
Thank you. So that's hard. They didn't want that this early stage in the race. Grant, a quick question. I imagine there's a few folks at home just saying, Grant, Kenny in a race car, how the hell's that come about?
Yeah, well, it's I guess I've been asking myself the same question for a little while too. But no, out of the blue one day, Scott rang me up and just said, do you want to come race a car? I've just bought a Subaru and I'm going to start building it. I need another driver for this endurance series, and so you know, it's just came like that.
Safety car is off the circuit. We are back under full race conditions, and Alfie Costanzo got the early jump in the Maserati. Have a look at the speed of it down the main straight. Beninka's sitting in that second spot, but keep your eyes out for John Bow in the Ferrari. Here he comes.
Oh, look at this, under brakes down the inside of John Trimble's Daily Planet car. He's really on a charge now. Stop-go penalty for jumping the start for John Bow. He went into pit lane, came back out, found himself something like 20 seconds behind the leader at one stage. And now he's fought his way right up, taking advantage of that safety car situation. Shell Helix onboard camera, riding with John Bow on the Palmer Motorsport Ferrari F355.
Well, we say thank you to Grant Kenny as he runs out of the commentary box. He's got to get downstairs, get his helmet on and get kitted up. He's very excited about his debut here in the OAM's Insurance Endurance Classic.
Absolutely superb sound of that 3.5 litre Ferrari V8. John Bow giving it everything to close up to the Maserati.
Isn't he pushing it hard too? Look, all over the place in his Ferrari Fragrance 355. He just drives harder than anybody on the track, doesn't he? Superb to watch in this car. He's really in a class of his own. And not that far behind Beninka. In fact, Costanzo last time around, just over 220 Ks on the main straight. The Porsche about 10 kilometres an hour slower. The Ferrari about 210 Ks. So in terms of top speed, no one's near the Maserati.
Craig, jumping in after Alfie gets out of this car is going to be the 17-year-old Dean Canto, who's been running around in Class B this year. Is that right? What can we expect from him?
Well, interesting, Lee. This is actually his first year in car racing at all. He's raced karts in his career, but he's never ever raced cars before. He jumped into the deep end, has raced a Class B Subaru Impreza WRX in the championship. He actually went into the final round at Oran Park with a chance of taking the title. He didn't. He'll finish third, or did finish third in the series. And out of that got this superb offer from Tony Graziani and the Maserati team to jump in with Alfie. Two young Italians, the oldest and the youngest in the Italian Maserati, and he's been sensational around here. Second fastest in driver qualifying yesterday, only a shade off Alfie's time. So as a driver combination, they'll both be very, very fast.
So John Bow continues to attack as he tries to close the gap to Alfredo Costanzo in the Maserati. The battle of the Italian stallions. And he's trying to close the gap to Dominic Beninka just up ahead of him. Alfie just trying to pump it out again. 1.6 seconds the gap over the Porsche. This tremendous battle for second position.
Interesting that the pit window is now open, guys, too, because we're over a third through race distance. I noticed a number of cars peeled off, including Ed Aitken's Porsche. He'll hand the car over to Peter Fitzgerald. They were running in the top 5. Fitzgerald now back on the track in 8th spot now. Keep your eyes on that one.
Well, Alfie Costanzo, no stranger to the Sandown circuit, of course. He's a very experienced driver and has been around for many years. And it's funny, ironic almost, we see this guy on screen because those two, John Bow and Alfie Costanzo, shared a Volvo in the endurance race here back in 1986. Now they're doing battles in very different makes of cars, a Ferrari and a Maserati.
Well, Alfie's doing it again. A 1:18.68, fastest man on the circuit by far. He's opened it out 3.2 seconds. The lead over our second place man, Dominic Beninka. You can see John Bow closing on him for second. But Alfie, once again, is sprinting away.
Yes, you'll see the power of the Maserati. Here's a good example, too, between the Ferrari, the 3.5-litre V8, versus the 3.8-litre Porsche. You can see the Ferrari just starting to pull him in. Bow moves to the outside. Beninka will probably hold the inside line. See how good the Porsche is under brakes. No, in fact, Bow's got through.
Got him.
Nice move. He's drifted wide, though.
Oh, he's way offline there. He was right out on the marbles. He managed to hold it straight. That's allowed Beninka to take advantage and get back into second position. Tremendous battle.
No one likes a fight better than John Bow, but I think someone equally who doesn't mind a fight is Dominic Beninka, huh?
He's always on the edge, Dominic. He gives us great television. He always drives to the absolute max in this Porsche. And now Bow's got to do it all over again.
I remember watching Dominic many years ago, Craig, in a Alfa Romeo sports sedan. Unbelievably exciting stuff to watch. The guy was just off the planet.
And they run a very professional organisation too, Beninka Racing. They've got a great workshop here in Melbourne, and they do some tremendous engineering stuff between all the brothers.
Well, we are on the, this is the calm before the storm, if you could say that, because pit lane is about to become very frantic, Greg.
frantic already, Lee, and in fact, Rob Porter is joining us at the moment, running in 12th place from OAM's Insurance, of course, in the Toyota Sora. How are things going?
Fantastic. Hiya, Lee. Everything's good. We've got plenty of brakes, plenty of petrol, plenty of tyres, and we should pick up a few places. The fast driver's in there now.
Tell me, you expedited a fairly quick stop there.
Yeah, a great pit stop. Everything's going nicely. We've held the car together. It's a long-distance race. OAM's is delighted. No crashes, so everything's going well.
Best of luck.
Well, there he is, Rob Porter. He's a very colourful character, putting it as just simply how it is.
He obviously hasn't seen the replay of course, the Kirkham Mayhill incident, because we should mention that OAMS is the sponsor of this race. Are actually insuring every car in the field, which is quite a unique first.
I'll take the edge off his day.
I tell you what, someone who's doing a terrific job while we watch this Class A battle continue between the Porsche of Dominic Beninka and the Ferrari of John Bowe. The former V8 supercar driver John Trimble in the Daily Planet entry is going exceptionally well. He leads Class B. We have a look at the overall placings on the Shell Helix Race Tour. Costanzo, Beninka, Bowe, the two Warwicks. And Paula Elstrick has come up into the top 5. She's doing a great job. We go back to Halliday, Cartwright, Aitken, Trimble and Cohen. 11 back through 15. It is Lawrence, Newman and Longhurst, Jacob and Kenny, and Grant's about to take over the wheel. We'll see how he goes in just a moment.
8:30. Just a few seconds past the halfway stage in this GTP 1 hour race here at Sandown. A marvellous battle here between John Bowe and Dominic Beninka for second place behind Alfie Costanzo, your race leader. That's the top 3 yet to make a driver change in this event. A lot of action happening both in pit lane and on the track, and rain, as you can see from that windscreen, is starting to fall. So Robbie Porter, the boss of OAMS Insurance, who insured all these cars here today, is going to start to have a few palpitations, I think, in the coming minutes.
Well, not only rain causing a bit of interest, but we've just crossed the halfway mark, so we are into the second half. 30 minutes gone now, so we are into the second half of the OAMS Insurance Endurance Classic. Look at Dominic Beninka's Porsche just pulling away from John Bowe's Ferrari down the main straight. These two guys have been having a really good battle, to say the last 4 or 5 laps. It's been tough going. Bowe is about to hand over to Crompton. Look at the rain on the windscreen of the Ferrari 355 as he continues to pursue Beninka. All leaders must stop in the next 10 minutes. Now, otherwise they will break the rules. Craig Denny, they don't want to do that.
No, Costanzo still, of course, well and truly out in front of the Maserati from Beninka, then Bowe, Warwick, Elstrick, Fitzgerald, and De Gostin. As we look at the Class D leader, Alan Letcher, who was leading Class D, the under 2.5 litre class, prior to his recent pit stop, all the way from Perth, has done a good job. In fact, he's worked his way up to just picking up 18th outright. Cameron Edwards now behind the wheel of this car, and a beautiful little Honda Civic. Only a 1.8 litre engine, I think they are. They've got the VTEC variable engine timing system in them. A very, very competitive car.
Speaking of competitive, how about Tony Longhurst in the Longhurst Newman entry, the Class C car? Longhurst is up to 11th outright and second in Class C. He's just been wringing that car's neck.
He's absolutely hammering it, isn't he? Really attacking the curves, giving the debut of Ford's AU Falcon a real workout. There's Alfredo Costanzo just coming up behind our Class D leader. Signals the Maserati through, and Alfie is absolutely flying. He's got the lead out to almost 12 seconds now. 1:18.68, fastest lap for Costanzo as well.
This is the Class E leader, Aaron McGill, Don Pulver, the Dux Water Heaters car. So he had problems in qualifying too, but was quite happy with the car. Believe that they'll be a very, very competitive run today. Again, this baby class up to 1.8 litre. A good battle in this class between the Suzuki and the Proton. Calazides running the Proton this weekend, running second on the road to McGill's car.
Interesting seeing Don Pulver partner Aaron McGill. Don's raced a V8 supercar in the past. Bit of a step backwards down to a 1.3 Suzuki Swift GTI in terms of power, that is.
Yeah, it's been the dominant car in this class for so many years. I remember Mark Brame running this car in the ill-fated Bathurst 12-hour. It's totally dominant in this category. Superb little machine. And even though the new Proton M21 Coupe has a superior power-to-weight ratio to the Suzuki, it's still a very, very competitive race car. Look at the difference in size between it and the Toyota Sora as it roars past. A tiny car.
When you consider, Mark, they're only sort of 1.3 litres. They've really got a tiny engine, haven't they? This is the Cartwright De Gostin car, which has come in. Jamie Cartwright just about to jump into the car now. Toyota RZ Supra, twin turbo, beautiful motor car. A lot of potential from this car too. A car that was brought into Australia by Car Imports Australia, and which is the Cartwright family business. Jamie's father, Roger, raced at Bathurst some years ago, and Frank Lowndes is looking after the preparation of this car this weekend. They've got a great team. All the guys that used to look after Roger's cars at Bathurst in the mid-70s. It's more like Dad's army in the pits around this car, but they put on a very professional show.
Well, full credit to Christian de Gostin, because he's done a very good job to bring that car into the pit stop in 7th position. They'll obviously have some work to do now as they come on through. 30, almost 35 minutes gone.
Well, it's another car that not brought into Australia by the parent manufacturer. Certainly Toyota Australia don't touch it, but a lot of private importers have brought it in. It's a spectacular looking machine. Here's John Bowe. Has he done it this time? He's online this time, and he's going to hold that lead over Dominic Beninka. Tremendous battle for second place outright in the OAMS Insurance Endurance Classic at Sandown. He moves up to 2nd position. Beninka back to 3rd, but they have to make their driver changes.
Well, that's exactly where John Bowe made the move on Beninka earlier. It didn't come off because Bowe drifted wide, and Beninka was right there to snatch it back from him. This battle for second continues as Beninka puts on. Alfie Costanzo is in to hand over the wheel to young Dean Canto, this 17-year-old. This is a very big moment in his racing career to take over the lead of a major endurance race, especially in this category. And some big raps on this young guy. Let's see how he'll go.
Well, it's all happening down here in pit lane, Lee, and I can tell you the heavens are just starting to open up again as well here at Sandown. Young Dean Canto is now being strapped into the car by Alfie Costanzo in the Maserati. Just waiting for the team to finalise it. Now, that's a little bit slower than I think they would like. We might try and grab a quick word with Alfie. Things have been going extremely well with the Maserati.
So far, very good. I hope that stays straight.
Well, it's starting to rain at the moment. That's a bit of a daunting prospect for young Dean Canto.
It is, not only for him, but would be probably worse for me, but for everybody else's sake, I think if he goes to wait, they mess everyone up.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Tremendously talented driver, Alfredo Costanzo, multiple Australian drivers champion, drove for Alan Hamilton Porsche Cars Australia for many years in a number of different categories, and was very, very dominant, even at 50-odd years of age, still very competitive.
Last won a race in 1984 in a Formula Pacific. Last won a Sandown race in 1979 in a Lola Formula 5000 that time. But a great driver, a guy, of course, that really John Bowe took the mantle from in open-wheeler racing. Costanzo really was to open-wheeler racing in those days. I guess what Lowndes and all those guys are to V8 supercars today. John Bowe, of course, went that route and then came, of course, into V8s and driving the Ferrari in this race today.
Well, it's creeping up towards midday as Beninka comes into the pits. He is about to hand over to Gary Walden. Walden is already in the car, strapping in. A very handy driver indeed himself, Gary Walden. And away we go. Great pit stop, very quick.
Applause from the crew and a slap on the back for Dominic. Great opening stint. Now it's all up to Gary Walden.
Walden's first drive actually in a Porsche this weekend. His first race in a Porsche. Not driven one before, raced the Dodge Viper in the Century Batteries Australian GT Production Car Championship this year. Was leading the series, had a huge accident at Malala when he rolled the car, totally destroyed it, so didn't do the final 3 rounds of the championship, and hopes to have the car rebuilt for the 3-hour race at Bathurst, so he's jumping in to help Dominic out this weekend. But of course, a very accomplished steerer.
There he is, just settling in.
Just looking at those clouds, Lee, too. Storm clouds gathering. So all sorts of drama happening down in the pits, Greg Rust.
Certainly is, but what a lightning pit stop from you, Dominic Beninka.
I think today the race will be won in the pits, so hopefully, and we've done a very good stop. We're only planning a driver change. It's going to make it the whole distance on the fuel. So I think we're looking good at the moment.
What's it like out there from a driver's perspective? It's sprinkling a little bit here in pit lane at the moment, but I guess it's still fairly dry out there.
It's not too bad. It's really pretty okay. The tyres are a little bit off now that they've done 37 minutes. The brakes are hot, but otherwise the car's going fine.
Well, it certainly is going fine. Now here is Neil Crompton. You can see him bringing the seat forward there, setting himself up. Let's hope this is a quick one. Bowe was in the lead when he came into the pits in the 355 Ferrari. Let's see what Crompton can do. He's been enjoying driving this. He's had a couple of drives of this car in the GT Production Car Championship throughout 98 when Bowe has had V8 supercar commitments when the dates have clashed. So Crompton is certainly no newcomer to this car, Craig.
No, in fact, he's driven it very, very well, too, in the times that he has been in the car. So he should come out on the road still in 2nd spot, I think. No, back in 3rd spot. So yeah. Crompton back out on the road now in the Ferrari Fragrance car, 3rd spot.
Wait for all these guys to complete a lap after their pit stops. Trip up the timing system.
Oh, Peter Fitzgerald.
He's just pulled up, apparently.
Now, this is the car he was, of course, sharing with Ed Aitken. It's Aitken's car, the car that Jimmy Richards used to win the championship in back in 1995. So, obviously, some kind of electrical problem or fuel problem. The car has obviously just stopped on the track.
Yeah, he hasn't even been able to roll it onto the grass. And there's a great battle here. Canto and Crompton.
Well, wrapping up, well, if our timing monitor's right, the race leader is Gary Walden in the Beninca Porsche. And, of course, we just saw that pit stop. It was a very good one from Bow. Crompton has now taken over the wheel. We've just seen him overtake up the back straight Dean Canto in the Maserati. So things going well for the Ferrari boys and also the Porsche of Dominic Beninca. Now look at Canto swerving all around. He's got plenty of power to play with. Tries an outside move on Crompton.
Ferrari F355 Challenge, V8 engine, of course, all aluminium, 3.5 litres in capacity. The car weighs about 1,440 kilograms, and look at that power output, 280 kilowatts. Side by side in lead every ounce of that as they have a drag race down the straight with the twin turbos of the V6 Maserati kick in, and he blasts past the Ferrari in a straight line.
What a big moment for young Dean Canto, though, 17 years of age, and to be able to do that to John Bow in a Ferrari. His father, Rocky Canto, is a Sydney panel beater. He raced himself years ago, so there's a lot of passion in this Canto family about motor racing, particularly about Italian cars such as Maseratis and Ferraris.
Good pit stop then, Greg, with the Bow Crompton car.
Yes, it certainly was, and at the moment it's all happening here in pit lane. Tony Longhurst getting out of the new Ford Falcon, and of course we can see Sam Newman getting strapped in at the moment. We'll grab a quick word with John Bow, who looked frantically a moment ago as young Dean Canto overtook Neil Crompton going down the front straight. This really is a 1 hour sprint, isn't it, fair dinkum?
Yeah, it is actually. We were a bit unfortunate. We had a stop-go penalty for jumping the start, which I didn't think I did, but obviously the judges did. So, but the problem we've got is the clutch is slipping out of the slow corners, so you've got to be very gentle on it. So, I mean, that's losing us a bit of time, but man, I can't believe how good that Maserati goes down the straight.
When you say the clutch is slipping, will it be all right towards the end of the race?
Well, you have to nurse it. I mean, I'm sure Neil can nurse it because he's a very good and sympathetic driver, so that'll be okay, I'm sure, but it slows you down a bit.
Well, John Bow saying Neil was a sympathetic driver. He's not showing too much sympathy towards young Dean Canto at the moment. He's really giving him a hard time. But look at the power. Have a look at this. The Maserati just blasts away down the main straight. Big time horsepower on this car.
Yeah, in excess of probably 400 horsepower they're now getting out of this little 2-litre V6 twin-turbo car. Got a 6-speed Getrag gearbox in it. Oh, Canto all over the place too. Not the most beautiful handling car you've ever seen, Mark.
Yeah, it's pretty wild stuff, though. Good for Maserati. See the Ghibli Cup car up leading this tremendously tight competition.
Well, Crompton's going to hassle him all the time. This is the way it sits at the moment. Gary Walden on board the Dominic Beninca Porsche leads the way from this car on screen. Dean Canto, and Crompton has overtaken now, or he has taken over the wheel, rather. The Elstrix Verides entry from Warwick and Warwick in the top 5. This is the OAMS Insurance Endurance Classic on your home of Motorsport Network 10, and we'll be back right after this.
Terrific action here at Sandown with just under 15 minutes to go in the debut of the OAMS Insurance Endurance Classic. There is the Whitman's Chocolates lightship. We will be bringing you marvellous scenes from Sandown all day, and of course keeping an eye on the ever-changing weather here, which will for sure impact at some stage. We've already had light rain during this race, but it has not so far affected it too seriously, as we see a terrific battle for second between Canto and Crompton. Gary Walden, though, still leads in the Beninca Porsche.
And this is car 16, who is doing a very good job at the moment. In Class C, that is Trevor Talbot, who's teamed up with Peter Phelan in the big VT Commodore.
Running fourth outright. This is a race debut for the VT Commodore as well, too, so they're doing a tremendous job in a brand new car. Graham Hunt, Andrew Madiki in the Falcon XR8. They've done a pretty impressive job too in this car. Running in the over 2.5 litre class, of course, against the new VT Commodore, the new AU Falcon, the Magna and the Camry.
Well, Madiki is putting in some very quick laps at the moment. And Jeff Full, in the same category in Class C, has been able to get past Sam Newman. Grant Kenny doing a tremendous job in Class B. He is running 14th outright. He has taken over from Scotty Jacob and is running 3rd in Class B, 14th outright. Well done, Grant Kenny, in his debut. He's doing an extremely good job. It is Gary Walden who still leads the way, though, in the Beninka Porsche. Dean Canto in the Maserati. Then we've got 2 Ferraris, Neil Crompton and Perry Spirides, doing a good job. Luke Warwick has taken over from Dad Max. Oh, there's the Spirides car off.
Perry Spearoff, that's what they call him. Now we know why.
Well, he was running so well. I don't know how close he was, in fact, to Crompton.
In fact, he was 4th outright, so they're doing a great job in the car that he's sharing with Paula Elstrick. So the Melbourne builder, Perry Spirides, in the car that Ross Palmer drove at Bathurst last year in the 3-hour with Greg Crick. Been fairly competitive all weekend, but obviously problems there.
Now the Cartwright de Gostin entry, they have moved up to 6th outright. Now when Christian handed over the wheel, they were 7th, so he's moved up 1 position better. Good work. But here is our race leader, car number 1, as we have a look at the Spirides replay, the HSV replay. Just overcooking it, maybe some oversteer coming out of that corner. It's just turned him around.
Yeah, hard car to drive unless you know its limits. The Ferrari 355 Challenge loops it around, but no another angle of the replay here. You can see, I think he just lost the rear end, probably got on the power a tad too early and around it went.
Now, while that was 4th, heading off the circuit, Perry Spirides, the gap from 1st to 2nd from Gary Walden in the Porsche, back to 2nd. Here it is now. It's gone from 2.6 down to 1.5, and even less than that now. Look at young Dean Canto, right up on our race leader. This is a 17-year-old kid sitting in 2nd spot. This is his biggest race of his career. He's taken over from the experienced Alfredo Costanzo. They were in the lead when he handed over. They lost the lead during the pit stops. Beninka and Walden made a lightning pit stop to take the lead for the first time during the race. But Dean Canto, to his credit, he got hassled by Neil Crompton a few laps ago, but he has surged forward, and now he is right up on Gary Walden.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting battle all the way to the flag as we get down to the last 10 minutes of this OAMS Insurance Endurance Classic. And Canto now makes a run down the outside. Now you'll see the power of the Maserati.
Right around the outside of Gary Walden as we go on board with Gary. He's got the inside run, though. The Beninka Porsche doesn't want the youngster to take over the number 1 spot. Great driving by both of them, especially the youngster. He's dealing with a very experienced campaigner here in Gary Walden, though.
Walden with the backing of Berg Power truck sales and also battery world for this weekend, and the Beninka Porsche, of course, not driving the Dodge Viper, but you can see it's got the rear-wheel drive flat 6 boxer Porsche engine in, weighs around 1,325 kilos, develops around 221 kilowatts, about 340 horsepower compared to the 400 horsepower you're now seeing in the Maserati.
Look at this, the drag up the back straight, but they've come up on traffic, and Gary Walden said, "You beauty," because he's used that to his advantage, and Canto got caught up behind Damien White, the leader of Class B at the moment. So he has dropped back a couple of car lengths, but you can bet the Maserati's going to be right back up there real soon. That really helped Gary Walden.
He's certainly got the race package. In fact, we're just trying to look at some lap times, but 206 kilometres per hour down the main straight that time compared to, that was Walden.
Oh, he's turned in! That's the Chadwick Myhill entry, and he's turned in on our race leader. Can you believe it? He mustn't have seen him. He couldn't have seen him.
So, Gary Walden in the black Beninka Porsche, Chadwick in the Magna. Now, Canto, of course, has gone through, will now go through to the race lead.
Well, there is Gary Walden, rightfully so, looking absolutely disgusted. And, well, we'll give the Chadwick Myhill entry the benefit of the doubt. It just looked like he did not see him at all.
Well, very hard when you're lapping traffic, particularly when you've got so many different classes in this category and so many different speed differentials, but they all do a tremendous job, and of course it is motor racing. However, this is your new race leader. Let's have a look at the replay.
And just the way he turned in there, he, well, it's always hard to guess this from sitting up here, but it just looked like the way he moved across, just had no idea that Gary Walden was coming through at that rate of knots. Here is it from the front angle. Here it is from the front angle. And around they go.
It was really just one of those things, Lee, where I don't think Walden was quite far enough down the inside to really have claimed the corner, although if Robert Chadwick had been aware that he was there, I'm sure he would have made room. It was just, I guess, one of those racing incidents.
Here we go. This is on board with Gary Walden. Make up your own minds as we head into the right-hander. Bang. Oh, Greg Russ, that's exactly what Gary Walden didn't need.
Very disconsolate faces down here at the moment, Gary. And tell us what happened.
Oh, mate, the standard of driving in this race is a bloody disgrace. The flaming idiot that was right alongside him, he turned straight into me. You know, why don't they look in their bloody mirrors? Honestly, they're all, not all of them, but there's a few flogs out there, I tell you.
Well, some unhappy faces down here at the Boninka pit.
Well, there you go. Well, we expected to hear just that. You can see the look on Gary's face after it happened, and he was leading the race. We are well inside 10 minutes to go. He had the lead. Well, he could almost taste the victory. He did have this young guy, Dean Canto, breathing heavily down upon him. But that incident there with the Myhill Chadwick Mitsubishi, and now Walden is out of the race.
Also gives Canto quite a bit of breathing space too. Neil Crompton still running second in the Ferrari, but some 7.2 tenths of a second behind. Then Warwick, Spirides, Jamie Cartwright still up there in fifth spot now. So they've done a tremendous job to come from sixth on the grid up to fifth outright in what's been a trouble-free run at this stage.
Well, I tell you who'll be delighted with their run is the Warwick combination. Father Max and son Luke in the Porsche 911 RSCS, the car that Cameron McConville won the 1996 GT Production Car Championship in. They have taken over the reins this weekend and are running in third outright. And obviously third in Class A, they're doing a tremendous job. Class B is still being dominated by the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 3 of John Trimble and Damien White. Young Damien behind the wheel at the moment. Class C is being well and truly led by Andrew Mediki. He's doing a great job over Jeff Bull, and Sam Newman is running third in his category. How about Grant Kenny? He has just overtaken Sam Newman, so it's the battle of the celebrities out there. Grant has just overtaken him in the overall standings. Kenny is now 13th, and in terms of Class B, he's maintaining his third position, so he's doing great.
Yeah, good effort. Of course, Grant Kenny has done a number of celebrity races, always been very competitive, so no doubt this may be a new career for Grant Kenny.
Back to Class D, Craig, if we have a look at that, because we should give the guys a good rap right throughout all 5 categories. Calvin Gardner leads the way there. And Class E, it is still the Don Pulver, Aaron McGill, Suzuki Swift GTI on screen right now, who leads the way in Class E.
In fact, side by side, Gardner's done a good job in this car, the car that he shares with Tom Watkinson. They won the Bathurst 3-hour in this class last year, the under 2.5 metre category. Been pretty much again on the pace all weekend. Gardner coming through now, and the McGill Pulver Class E, the up to 1.8 litre class, just behind them.
And in fact, actually something I just picked up the lap before, Cosy Kalazidis is in fact leading Class E now. So whether Pulver and McGill lost something in their pit stop, so well done to Cosy. He's now up there in 20th outright.
Well, it's a good run for the Proton too.
Yeah.
Yes, he had a race win, a round win of the Australia GT Production Car Championship not so long ago, so he's battled to get the car competitive all year and finally starting to pay dividends.
Now, not only is it just over 5 minutes till the end of the OAMS Insurance Endurance Classic, which has been an absolute ripper. We were sorry to see what happened to Gary Walden, because that was a tremendous battle up in the lead between he and Canto, but it is less than 1 hour, folks, to the start of the 1998 Tickford 500. Greg Murphy and Mark Noski will start from pole alongside their Mobil 1 Holden Racing teammates Mark Scape and Craig Lowndes. The defending champs Murphy and Lowndes in separate cars, and they are each individually going for their hat trick. Of course, they won 96-97. Who will win the 1998 Tickford 500? Stick around, because that's coming up in less than 1 hour.
So time now running out, less than 5 minutes of this OAMS Insurance Endurance Classic here at Sandown. Russ Halliday in the Toshiba Evo 5. John Trimble, of course, leading the Class B in the Daily Fender car just behind him. Russ has had a pretty good run, although synchro problems with 4th and 5th gear means that he's got to double clutch the car down the main straight here at Sandown, with a car that is pretty much stock standard as you'd buy it from Mitsubishi Ralliart, the Evo 5. They now race in the World Rally Championship. The car is owned by Ross Armand in Adelaide. Ross Halliday, who's driving it, is a McDonald's franchise owner in Adelaide. Perhaps we should call him Ross McHalliday.
Well, things haven't changed up front, Craig, either, because it's still, in fact, it's just increased. It's about 9 seconds, the gap now. As we have a look, there's the Newman Longhurst XR6. It's being overtaken by Halliday. Talking about the lead up front, though, the gap between the leading pair of Canto and Crompton is now some 9 seconds. The Warwicks are still sitting outright third, and then the Elstrex Spirides combination in the second Ferrari in 4th. 5th is the Cartwright de Gostin entry. That's a great result for those guys. We go back, Wallace, Dean, and Damien White in the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 3 is sitting in 8th outright, and the leader of Class B. A terrific job there.
Richard Davis in the Jayco Caravans, Commodore HSV GDSR, a big 5.7 litre car. In fact, Gary Baxter will be running in the Racing for Life Falcon at Bathurst, the V8 Supercar weekend. This is only a 1 hour race, so we're running down now to the last 3 minutes. Right on 3 minutes to go to the final flag of this OAM's Insurance Endurance Classic.
Now, Craig, is this the same Commodore that ran in the 3 hour last year with John Cowley behind the wheel? Is
exactly the same configuration, different car,
yeah.
but same configuration. This car's been driven by Gary Baxter and Richard Davis. Baxter, a well-known Commodore Cup driver. In fact, he's won the ROH Wheels Commodore Cup Series twice. Richard is a caravan park owner from Adelaide, but they've put in a really, really good performance in this car. It's not an easy car to drive. It really does suit the Sandown track, like 5.7 litres, so plenty of horsepower out of the car, a 6-speed gearbox, and they can really sort of use all its power around a track like Sandown.
Well, you're witnessing something very special. It's the first time we have had the GTP endurance race along with the Tickford 500, and it's been very eventful right from the word go. Right back when John Bow, who got the jump, got a stop-go penalty on the opening lap for jumping the start, or allegedly jumping the start. John Bow didn't agree with the officials, but nonetheless, they're still battling on, and Neil Crompton, his teammate, is sitting in second behind this young charger. Dean Canto, the 17-year-old, driving for the House of Maserati in the Maserati Ghibli, doing a tremendous job. He's got some 10.5 seconds over Crompton. At the moment, they had a terrific battle not so long ago. Crompton gave him a really good working over, but the power of the Maserati got him out of trouble and got him away from Crompton, who sits well in front of Luke Warwick in that second spot. Warwick back in third. And we are counting down 1.5 minutes left to run in the OAM's Insurance Endurance Classic. So Canto will do another 2 laps.
Very impressive performance from the Maserati team, from Marino Ciuffatelli and all the boys. Marino, of course, has worked with Alfie Costanzo in just about every year of Costanzo's racing career. Used to work on the Formula 5000s that Costanzo raced many years ago. He's actually Alfie's brother-in-law. So he'd be very, very happy to see maybe Maserati notch up its first win in Australia since probably the mid-60s, maybe even the late 50s.
Now here is second place Neil Crompton on board the Ferrari 355. Now Neil has a very busy day, but he's a fit man. Trains very hard. He's got to back up in around about 45 minutes time in the 98 Tickford 500, and of course Neil is teamed up with Ford Credit partner Glenn Seaton. They'll be going, well, Neil will be going for his first win. Of course, Glenn has won the Tickford 500 a couple of times, but Neil keen to do well, breaking the tradition, or his tradition, of teaming up with Wayne Gardner, and he's also changed marks. He'll be driving, of course, for Ford this year. We wait with much anticipation for that race, but at the moment Crompton has got second well and truly wrapped up in the GTP 1 hour. Here is your young race leader. Now 15 seconds left to run. We'll see if the checkered flag will come out. I think we'll run out of time. Checkered flag should come out this time round. As he gets it out, no, it won't, so he'll do one more lap. Canto comes across the line.
With the longest lap of Dean Canto's life. He's 17 years of age. It's one of the few cars you can actually see over the dashboard in. He's only about 5 foot high. He's a short, stocky guy, very enthusiastic and passionate about his motor racing, and a very mature and polished performance too.
Well, the credit to him, because when he took over from Alfie Costanzo, the track was very wet. There's the gap back to Neil Crompton, sitting in second spot, who's done a really good job in the Ferrari. Talking about Canto, Craig, when the track was wet earlier on, he was pretty loose, and he was getting out of shape quite often, and looking like heading off the circuit, but he's done well. He's composed himself. Of course, the track's tried to help matters.
Yeah, and of course, you know, he settled himself down, I guess, after the pit stop. He was under a bit of pressure from Crompton. Now he's got a bit of a road between the two of them, so he can relax.
Now here is the Warwick Porsche, the car driven by Cameron McConville to win the 96 GTP Production Car Championship. This is the father and son combination of Max and Luke Warwick. Luke Warwick, the son, is behind the wheel at the moment, has done a terrific job. He's sitting third, and he's on his way home. The final lap in the OAM's Insurance Endurance Classic, and they will be delighted. Now, is that the first time they've driven together?
In fact, Luke's only ever driven historic Formula Fords. His father, Max, has raced historic Formula 5000s, but this is really the first time in a competitive national race like this that they've certainly been together, and they'd be very impressed about that.
Now, this is it. Checkered flag time. Well done. The 17-year-old Dean Canto in the Maserati wins the 1998 OAM's Insurance Endurance Classic. We go on board with Neil Crompton in the Ferrari. He flashes across for second. Well, what a great win for the veteran Alfie Costanzo, teamed up with the youngster Dean Canto. That's a tremendous win for those guys. There they are, your winners.
They'd be absolutely over the moon, I would think. There'd be plenty of red wine and spaghetti bolognese tonight, wouldn't there, in the Costanzo camp?
He'll be delighted. He really deserves it. He's been a great member of the Australian motorsport family for so many years.
And it's great to see the oldest and the youngest driver in the race take out victory together. Isn't that tremendous?
It is. And speaking about old and young, we've got dad and son. And this is the Warwick Fabrics Porsche coming across the line, the 911 RSCS, to pick up third outright. As they come across the line, well done to the Warwick family. Now Class B, Damien White, the young driver. Now that looks like Damien left of screen there, teamed up with John Trimble. They've come across the line to take out 8th outright, but the winners of Class B, it appears as though Andrew Medicki has wrapped up Class C. So we see young Dean Canto with the checkered flag. Well, that is a very significant moment to the beginning of what could be. I bet he's hoping he has as long a career in motor racing as his teammate Alfie Costanzo.
And Alfie, you know, we say it so many times, he still tries just as hard today at 55 years of age as what he ever did. Still enjoys his motor racing, super competitive, and really this weekend this car has been absolutely outstanding. No one really has been able to get close to it in terms of outright speed.
Well, there it is. The hour has literally flashed by. It is over for 1998. The OAMS Insurance Endurance Classic, and the combination of Costanzo and Canto have won from Bowen Crompton. The Warwicks in for third, Elstrach and Spirides from Cartwright and De Goston. That's a great result. 6 back through 10, Halliday and Wallace, Dean and Porter in for 7th, Trimble and White, Davis and Baxter, Hunt and Medicki. More right after this.